Welcome to Making It Happen TV, where we're here to inspire and encourage you to pursue your gifts and talents. Now, we've got a great show tonight. Juli Tapken will be here from Eureka Springs, and you don't want to miss this. But before we get started, I wanted to inspire you for a minute about the difference in light and dark. You know, when we start our careers, when we decide what it is that we want to do, sometimes we have things come at us that we weren't expecting. I mean, here we are on ready, set, go, and we think we've got it all planned out. We know exactly what to do. And then maybe somebody says something to you that you're thinking, well, okay, maybe I can't do it. Maybe I'm not as good as I think I am. You've got to realize that if you've got it in your heart and God's placed something in your heart to do, there's nothing that can stop you. That's the difference in darkness and light. I know for myself how many things came against me when I wrote my first book, and I've written 8 now, when I began the TV, and that's been since 2009. There's always something trying to come against you to stop where God wants to take you. You've got to make a decision. Am I going to stop because somebody said something to me? Am I going to stop because it gets a little hard and rough? Or am I going to push through? Because there's always going to be obstacles in your life, always. So you've got to make a decision. What am I going to do? You know, there's a scripture that talks about, you know, God's got a plan. You know, Jeremiah 29:31 says that God's got a plan of good and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Well, if He said it, He's going to do it, right? So nothing that someone else says to you. I've had people say really nasty things about me, and I'm thinking, why would you say anything bad about me? All I'm trying to do is help people. But you know what? Sometimes there's people out there that are jealous because they want where you are. They want to have what you have. So you just have to brush that aside, move on with what God has for you. Don't worry about what other people are saying. Don't worry about the obstacles coming your way, because you know we've all got an enemy that wants to keep us from getting there. The reason he wants to keep you from getting there is that he knows God's got a plan, and he doesn't like God's plans. Doesn't that make perfect sense? So I'm encouraging you today, don't listen to anybody that says negative in your life. Surround yourself with people that lift you up, not tear you down. Because if you'll move forward, God will take you from one place to the next, to the next. When I first wrote my first book, I had no idea I was a writer. But I was working for Christian Broadcasting Network in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And they asked me to write the university newsletter. I looked at them like they were crazy because I thought, why would you ask me to write anything? I've never had a course for anything. And yet, you're asking me. Of course, I didn't tell them all that. I played like I knew exactly what I was doing. But when I wrote the first university newsletter, it was like, oh my gosh, I must be really good at this, because it came so easy. The gift that God has placed inside you will come so easy to you. So don't let anyone rob you of it. So if you will keep that thought in mind, let's go to a quick commercial. When we get back, we'll have Juli on the stage with us. I think she's got some things to tell you that might inspire you as well. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. And as I promised, we have Juli Tapken with us today. You're going to really enjoy this. She's a beautiful young lady. So would you come on the stage with us, Juli?
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming. Can I hug you?
Thank you for having me.
Have a seat right here, and I will go over here. Have my seat. Wow. You know, we just talked, how long ago was it? Was it a month or?
About a month ago on the phone.
A month ago. And it was Justin Peters at
Songs for the Planet, Platinum Planet Records in Nashville.
He's a great guy, I understand. I've never gotten to meet him in person. But
he is a great guy.
He's producing your songs, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He's my record producer. He is actually the songwriter of God Is Ever True.
Which you're going to sing today.
Which you'll get a little taste of that here later.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm so honored that he allowed me to sing that song, to be the voice of that song.
Right.
It's really special. So yes, Justin is just a wonderful guy. He's a go-getter and just is really quite busy at getting things done and getting artists out there.
Well, I haven't met him in person, but I've been talking to him for several years now, Isn't that funny how God will put people together? You may not see them in person, but there's some kind of connection.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm hoping at one point in our lives we'll get to actually meet in person. But tell me, inspire our audience a little bit with how did you get started, and what were the bumps and bruises along the way, and what kept you continuing to pursue?
Well, let's see. Okay. I'm the youngest of 4 children in my family, and so as the youngest, I've always been kind of an entertainer, or a ham, as some like to call me. So humor is disarming, and it's my defense mechanism. So I've always, come up with humorous quips or something to diffuse a tense situation.
Okay.
Then throughout school, I was involved in band and chorus and drama and all of those things. College, same thing, community theater. And when I met my husband, we decided that the little town of Ponca City, Oklahoma, which is where I'm from. Yes, I graduated Ponca City, Oklahoma. Go Wildcats.
Wow.
But we decided that we could always come back to Ponca. So it was time to branch out and see, just where God wanted to take us. And so we went to Branson, Missouri, just to see if we could. And God opened every door you could possibly have asked to open. I was involved with The Promise, with Two from Galilee.
Yes.
So that was my first show. And then I was blessed to be involved with the show Smoke on the Mountain for 15 years.
Oh my goodness.
In their Branson show. I played all 3 female roles, and that was really challenging. And then we got our son. And so I just wanted to be a mother. Honestly, Victoria, that was my dream. My whole dream in life was I just wanted to be a mother.
Right.
And I love the way that God does things, because our son, came to us through adoption.
Wow.
Not through the usual channels, of childbirth. So that was my first experience of God doing things different than I expected, but so much better than I could have ever imagined.
Right.
And so we kept on with Smoke on the Mountain, and then one day my husband saw an audition notice for a film that was shooting in Springfield, Missouri, which is local to us at that time. And he said, "Why don't you submit to this?" Well, at the time, we have a church ministry, and we're running children's worship, and I'm raising a son and filling in at Smoke on the Mountain. And I was like, yeah, I'll get to that.
Right.
And I never did. And he stayed on me until I went and took a bathroom selfie and submitted it in.
Oh, you're kidding.
And then they called me to audition. First audition I'd ever done in my life.
Wow.
And somehow I landed that role in a movie called Surrender. It's a great faith-based film that I'm very proud to have been a part of.
Oh, wow.
And from there, my husband just took that ball and started rolling with it, just submitting me for any and every project we could come up on. Now, at the time, I was not ever looking for anything more than what I had.
Right.
I was a mother. I was the head of our children's ministry. My husband and I worked together.
Right there.
Okay, so God had called me out of children's ministry, and I couldn't believe that. I absolutely could not believe that He would take that away from me. And so I denied it. I said, "Get behind me, Satan! I'm not doing that. I'm not selling out to Hollywood. That's not." And slowly, God just began to take away the things in my life that were my excuses as to why I couldn't follow the call. And I knew that I was called. I knew that that's what He wanted me to do.
So what you're saying is sometimes what looks like a bad thing, you think that He's taking things away from you, or that the world's taking things away from you, or whoever it was at the church or whatever, when really it's God taking things out of your life so He can prepare you for something else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
See, that's a good point for someone that may be wondering what's going on in their lives,
I agree, Victoria. I have found in my life that oftentimes the worst thing that could happen is usually the best thing. And I always liken that to the cross. Imagine how the disciples felt when Jesus was on that cross. It was the worst thing they could ever possibly have imagined.
Right.
And yet it was the best.
Right.
Because if He hadn't, where would we be?
That's right.
And so anytime, you know, I would just like to encourage your viewers that if you're facing a hard time, and you know, look for the purpose, look for the good, look for the open door, and look for the ways that God is wanting to stretch you and challenge you, and He'll do it. Even if He has to do it, drag you kicking and screaming,
Right, right.
which He did for me.
And sometimes you don't really understand what He's doing.
Right.
You know, at the time, I mean, I know in my own life I didn't understand. Most of my life I didn't understand. But, okay, hold that thought. Let's take a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to have Julie over there on the stage singing a beautiful song that we got to hear a little bit of a little while ago. So I want her to sing that and then come back because we've got something else we want to show you as well. So we'll be right back with Julie singing a song you don't want to miss.
He loves you. You can trust Him what you're going through, 'cause God is ever true. God is ever true. Always be there for you. Trust Him now with what you're going through, 'cause God is ever true. You can take life one day at a time. I know His mercies you're bound to find. Any circumstance you can hold His hand. Guarantee you He will have a plan. God is ever true. You better know how much He loves you. You can trust Him what you're going through, 'cause God is ever true. God is ever true. Always be there for you. Trust Him now with what you're going through, 'cause God is ever true. Same today, just like yesterday. Forever He is, shall be always. He keeps His promise, His word's good as gold. His kingdom is filled with riches untold. God is ever true. You better know how much He loves you. You can trust Him what you're going through, 'cause God is ever true. God is ever true. Always be there for you. Trust Him now with what you're going through, 'cause God is ever true. He'll be there on your darkest night. He'll be there to help you see the light. Don't you know how much He cares for you? Our God is ever true. God is ever true. You should know how much He loves you. You can trust Him what you're going through, 'cause God is ever true.
Okay, I know you enjoyed that. So let's have Julie come back over to the set. I want to ask her a couple of questions before we show you something special. Thank you so
Oh,
much,
thank
Julie.
you for letting me share that song.
That was beautiful. It really was.
I'm humbled by the gifts that God gives
Oh,
each
I
one of
know.
us.
And see, just like you said, God is always true. You had no idea years ago that any of this would have happened.
You know, I truly didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, as a little girl, of course, you know, you always, dream and fantasize, but to truly have a career in film and music was not something that I really thought would happen.
Right.
And God just opened the door. Justin called me and invited me to work with him as a songwriter, and then he signed me as an artist.
Yeah.
And he let me sing this beautiful song, and
Right.
this is my first fruits to the Lord. And so
Right.
I pray with everything that's in me that it hits a chord.
Yes,
And that
I'm
people
sure it
will
will.
understand how
I'm sure it will.
very faithful he is.
Well, I don't want you all to miss this, but she sent me a clip of different productions, shows, TV and movies, I guess. TV too, or just
Yeah,
movies?
there's some television
Okay.
on that reel. Mm-hmm.
She is so good. Wait till you see this. But I wanted to save a little time for us to run that clip. So pay attention to these little clips that she sent us, and you'll see what a great actress she is. Not only can she sing, but she can act. So let's start that reel.
Do you think this is a joke? We have 2 dead bodies, and you are at the center of both of them.
Grandpa once told me to doubt your doubts and believe your beliefs. You know, my dad didn't just wake up one day as some great leader that everyone respected. True influence takes time. It's the last time that filthy animal lays a paw on me. I'm so out of there.
I know, baby, but I'm gonna do a lot more of it from now on. I will.
What woman wouldn't want to be drunk with you for a boyfriend?
He was deeply concerned for her welfare, especially when describing her bodacious tatas.
My mother taught me not to talk to strangers, Shane.
He's an anchor's photographer. He'll make you look marvelous. You can't wait to get me out of here. I learned from watching him. I'm really glad you're staying here, because it's exactly where he would want you. Close to him. We'll see him. It pays the bills. You'll be back tomorrow.
All right, I know you enjoyed that, and so be watching for Juli Tapken and all the other productions that I know God's going to take her through to, I don't know, what, do you have anything that's coming up next that you know of?
Well, we just released our latest faith-based film called A Second Chance.
Oh, wow.
And so we are really excited about the distribution possibilities with this film. So A Second Chance will be the next
that's
one to watch out
exciting.
for.
Yeah,
Yes.
and now, remember who I told you kind of look like? Can I say that?
Oh, please.
Well, when I first saw her picture, to me she looked so much like Jodie Foster. So when you see her in those clips, pay attention to that, because I think you'll see a glimpse of that. Of course, she is Julie, so we don't want to put her in that. Here she is.
That's a great compliment, though. I'm a fan, so
Well,
thank you.
Me
Thank
too.
you for that.
So anyway, stay tuned for the next program. You have no idea who's going to be on, but I know you're going to enjoy him. So as I always say to you, don't just think it. Make it happen in your own life. We'll see you next time. Thanks.